Oh, good afternoon, everyone. You are so very welcome. Thank you for coming. If we haven't met before, my name is Mike, and I'm one of the consultants with Wakeman and Wright, and I'm here with two of my colleagues. I don't know whether you'd like to say hello, both of you.
Uh, You go, Lydia.
Hello. Hi, I'm Lydia. I'm a fellow consultant to Mike and Wakeman Wright, and excited to share with you a tool today.
And I'm Simon, and I'm also a consultant with Wakeman and Wright, and very excited by this tool. I think it's one of our strong tools for particularly for helping our teams going forward. So really excited that Lydia's going to be presenting this one. It's a very hot day. We are recording this if you're watching back on playback on one of the hot days of the year. So it is a hot day, but it's great. And Lydia, you're keeping cool where you are, aren't you?
I am, yes. I moved house last week, so I don't have Wi-Fi yet, and so I'm in Gloucester, and there's really strong aircon. So ironically, I'm freezing right now. My teeth are chattering. So yeah, you enjoy that warmth, people.
And I'm absolutely boiling this end. And if I go increasingly beetroot, I'm not getting annoyed, I promise. It's just the heat, and hopefully you won't see me fall over sideways as well. So, thinking about the session today, as we've already said, we're consultants with Wakeman and Wright, and we've been running these monthly sessions, taking a tool each month. And I'm going to hand over to Lydia to take us through the tool for this month. Simon, I don't know whether you wanted to intro that at all or not. I don't want to leave you out, and I'll give you the opportunity to jump in, and then over to Lydia.
They're doing a great job. Just to say, if you haven't looked at our tools, they are all on a YouTube channel, and we are referring back to Five Voices in this one, I think, almost sure. So worth viewing that before you watch this if you're watching on catch up. But Lydia, over to you.
Thank you. Great. Would you mind sharing a tool for me, please? So today we're looking at one of which is a power tool. This is such a great one. It's called the Support Challenge Matrix, and this is so important for understanding ourselves and our leadership and our behaviors. So I'm going to talk you through it and then give you some practical examples of how it shows. As you can see, there are two axes. You've got high support to low support, and you've got the high challenge to low challenge. And the four quadrants, ultimately, the goal is to be in the liberate quadrant. That's where we want to be, because when you calibrate the right amount of support with the right amount of challenge, high support and challenge, you create this brilliant culture of empowerment and opportunity. And that's where we all want to be, and that's what we're all aiming to be in. But I'm going to let you into a secret. Nobody gets there by accident, I'm afraid. We all fall into one of the other three quadrants, frustratingly. So let's have a look at the protect one. Sounds really nice, right? You know, you're great at bringing support. You know, you're always there for people. You'll take it on, you'll help, but much less good at bringing challenge. And actually, that leads to a sense of entitlement and mistrust. If you think about, say, the children, if you are always supporting them and protecting them, then they grow up entitled. They grow up sort of expecting it. Or if you have a team and you say, I'll do it, don't worry, let me help you, I'll take it on. And then eventually people just expect you to do that. And then when eventually you become frustrated and go, it's too much, and blow up, it creates this kind of mistrust. They go, whoa, what happened to Lydia? She used to be really calm. And so it's not a good place to be at all. Diagonally opposite to that is the dominate culture. And that's where people are great at bringing challenge, pushing, yeah, here you go and do that, you go and do this. But they're much less good at offering the support. So what do you need now? How can I help you? What support do you need? And this ultimately creates a culture of fear and manipulation. And again, that's not a good place to be. They'll manage to get people to do things for them, but it tends to be compliance rather than willingness, because they feel like they have to do it because they fear in some way the consequences. And then finally, that other one, that abdicate, is often for the people who are a little bit jaded, a bit at the end of the career, can't really be bothered with sort of the energy that is required to bring support and challenge, and they bring low support, low challenge, and it creates this culture of apathy and low expectation where very little is happening. It's kind of your quiet quitters of the world, the ones who go, well, I'll do what I have to do, but that's it, not giving anything else, and they don't expect it of other people. So as you can see, those three quadrants are all unhealthy in some way. They have, the desire for high support, in that protect and the high challenge and the dominate. But if it's not calibrated, if it's not supported with the balance, then you don't get a liberate culture. So the other thing I want to say about this tool is you need to think about how you treat yourself as well as how you treat other people. And you can be in all four quadrants at different times of the day with different people. So sometimes I can start off liberating one of my children, then I might switch to protect one of them and then dominate the other. And then at the end of the day, I'm just like, oh, for goodness sake, just watch Netflix and eat ice cream. I've abdicated. I've just given up. So it's very normal to move around, but there are general trends that we tend to notice. I naturally fall into protect. I'm very good at supporting people. I'm not great at challenging people. And so I need to be aware of that. But the weirder thing is I protect others, but I often dominate myself. I hold myself to very high standards, and I don't support myself by saying, Lydia, take a break. Lydia, say no. So it's really interesting to think about how you treat yourself and how you treat others. So that's the overview, and to kind of overlay it with the voices, and then I'm going to ask Simon and Mike to talk about it a little bit as well. You can see that naturally the nurturers, the connectors, and the creative connectors are all much better at bringing support than they are at bringing challenge. And then all the guardians and pioneers and creative pioneers are much better at bringing challenge than they are support. So there are growth areas for everybody. And it's really important just to be aware of that and to think, okay, what do I need to do? Small steps. I'm not asking you to change everything. What small steps could you take to move a bit more into that liberate culture? And that's something to really go away and think about today, because if you can start to make those steps, you'll start to create that liberate culture. And that's where we want to be. So Simon, Mike, love to hear from you about where you naturally fall with this and how it plays out for you.
Oh, well, I'm happy to go first and just say my voice order is Pioneer Connector. So I'm a pioneer, and I definitely find it easier to challenge than support. For me, sometimes the support element is around people, and because I'm more task focused, I get focused on the task. I forget the people, and so I can really bring the challenge because we've got to get the task done, but forget to bring the levels of support that are required to actually create a liberating culture rather than a dominating culture. And yeah, this has been a really helpful tool to think, am I bringing enough support as well as challenge, or how could I bring more support? What about you, Mike?
Well, I would echo some of what you have said, Simon. I'm a creative pioneer, which puts me by personality into that dominating quadrant, which when I first saw that, I thought, I don't really like that. That sounds a bit full on. But actually, on reflection, I do, like Simon, find it much easier to bring challenge than support. And some of the challenge wouldn't necessarily be verbal challenge. It might be, hey, let's go and do this ridiculous task in this stupid time frame. And then I wouldn't support people well through that process. And what I found really interesting is I became aware of that a while ago. So really try to adjust and get that high support, high challenge together. But for a while, I ended up in the protecting space. High support, low challenge, because I really tried to dial down the challenge piece. And I would echo, I do find it interesting what Lydia was saying around how we all move around these quadrants. Obviously, we're aiming for the liberate quadrant of high challenge, high support. But I do notice in my own life, in the circumstances, what have you, that I do move around quite a bit.
And
I think
sorry, Lydia, you go.
I was going to say, I think that's really normal. And let's hear from you, Simon. Then I've got some ideas about ways you could bring more support or bring more challenge, depending on your personality. But go for it, Simon.
Yeah, and I think just the danger for pioneers sometimes, and I speak personally, but I think it is we think we're supporting because we're sort of we think we know our team are great, and we think we've told them, or we have told them. We've told them once 3 months ago, and so we've told them, so they know they're great. Surely that's enough. And actually, some personality types you almost need to tell every day they're great if you're going to bring the best out of them. So it is also working out your team and actually what can you do to bring support to them, or what do you need to do to bring challenge? And sometimes it's worth doing this tool with your team members and saying, look, where do I need to give you more support? Where do I need to give you more challenge? And I think, as Lydia said, she's got some practical ideas for this. If I pop another slide up.
Indeed, indeed. And in the same way that you know that about your personality, I know that I think I bring good challenge, but I don't. I know I'm hinting at it. I'm suggesting. I think I'm being really clear but it's not always the case. So here are some sort of ideas here about if you know you need to bring more support to people, then you might want to think about offering training, offering resources, investing time in the individual, both formal and informal, giving people opportunity to kind of try things out, grow, take on responsibility, and recognizing and appreciating them. So if you're stuck going on, if you thought you were quite good at support, if you're doing those things, fantastic. If you're not, maybe there are things to think about. Because it might be also with support, when you've got to offer support for yourself, that might look like just saying, I can't do that now, or I'll help you at a later date. That might be support of oneself. But if you're investing in others, those are some support things. And then with the challenge as well, this is the challenge for me, giving direct feedback, always uncomfortable. Promoting excellence, I do try to do that, but just making sure that standard is there. Pressure of deadlines, I don't enjoy that. Enforcing accountability, really don't enjoy that. And stretch goals, no. So I know those things are not my strengths, but I know I can grow in them. And that's the point, I think. They may not come naturally to you, either way, either the support or the challenge, but being aware of them and starting to use them, people respect you so much more. Your influence grows when you are a fair leader who calibrates the right amount of support and challenge for each member of the team. And that might also look different for each member of the team. Like we said, if you think about the voices, offering support, offering challenge to a nurturer will look different to how you offer challenge to a pioneer. Because the pioneer will want that challenge. The nurturer will just potentially find it harder. So just being aware of who's on your team is really helpful as well.
That's great, Lydia. And I do think being really aware of the personalities and what people respond to, both support and challenge, is really, really important, isn't it? It's really significant. We've had a couple of questions come in. The first is, could you please say a little bit more about that protection, the protector quadrant, and the relationship with that and entitlement? Could you explain that a little bit more?
Absolutely, yeah. I think often leaders who are protective leaders, they take on too much. So they'll say they'll have the team, and then they won't delegate. They won't allow them to do work necessarily. They'll say, "I'll help, I'll do it," and they keep piling the work on themselves rather than other people. And then people sort of expect it. They're like, "Well, you've always done it, so why would I bother doing it?" And they become people who are in protect love being in protect. It's a nice place to be. And they hate moving out of it. I heard a statistic, I don't think it's fully true, but there are more people on benefits than pay taxes in the UK. Even if that's not true, that's a protect culture. You're just giving them, because you try and take those benefits away from people. You try to say they can't have that accommodation, they're going to be furious. So that entitlement, I deserve this, it's mine attitude, sort of within a team, it can be hugely problematic. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, that's really helpful. And then another question around the abdicate quadrant, and what do I do if my manager is in that quadrant, low support, low challenge? Any helpful tips?
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's the hardest one, I think, in some ways to get out of. I think conversationally finding out what motivates them, what they want. I think investing time in them in some way. I know that you're talking about investing upwards here if they're the manager, but just sort of seeing if there are areas that you can meet on a par with them, say, okay, what can I do here? How can we make this work? Try and reignite some of that, because it's really difficult if somebody above you isn't motivated. If they're below you, then I think you can go in with a bit more time investment and say, right, come on, I want you to take this on. I think this will work really well for you. And then encouraging them and seeing it grow. Influencing up is hard. Simon, I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that one, if you had a boss who was abdicating.
So, well, I think the important thing is that you don't lose your own motivation, and because we've got another tool, we're not going to do it today, but control the controllables. There's things we can control, there's things we can't control. We can't control what our boss is like. We can begin to try and upward manage them a bit. We can control our response and whether we choose to take what they're giving and be like them, or whether we think actually I'm going to look for challenge and I'm going to look for support elsewhere, either from peer support or from other means, because actually I want to be part of a liberating culture and I want to build a liberating culture in any teams that I'm part of. So yeah, very difficult. I think managing your manager is always very hard, but I think there are things that we can think, well, I can't change this, but I could change this. So
that's great. And Simon, can I, or Lydia as well, my experience of this tool has been really, really powerful, and it visually really helps portray some of the things to aim for and some of the things to avoid, but also trying to improve has definitely been a bit bumpy and 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Have you guys what's your experience? Simon, you probably nailed it in a couple of hours, did you? Once the revelation dawned of your potentially dominating quadrant characteristics?
Well, yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was, again, actually going back to the 5 voices and recognizing what each voice needs, and particularly in a team, recognizing which team members needed more support and which team members needed more challenge, and then again just trying to have those conversations as to, well, how can I support and how can I bring challenge again, as a quadrant, it's a really helpful tool that you can sit down and you can discuss with a team member. So yeah, so I think it comes back to 5 voices really, and that's why we spend so much time trying to encourage people to understand their own voice and the voices of their teams.
That's really helpful. That's great. Fantastic. Have we got a little bit more time or not, or do we need to wrap up?
I think
time is money.
If we're gonna be at our doing it in 20 minutes, Mike, I think we do need to bring things to a close. So
okay, that's fine. That's fine. I was enjoying it.
It's good but we want the viewership to go up and keep to our 20 minutes. But we've agreed that we're not going to meet in August. We're going to have a month off in August, but we will be back first Tuesday in September, and we're going to have a start the term tool, which is being more intentional, is how you can use that autumn term well to really achieve things in work and family life. So do join us then. Thank you, Lydia, for
very welcome. Thank
brilliant.
you.
Thank you, Mike, for leading us. I don't. Did we need to say anything else, or do we just say goodbye now?
Let's say goodbye.
Let's say goodbye.
Okay.
See you next month. Take care.
See you.
Thanks, folks, for coming. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.